right, we're live. Hey everyone, welcome to the stream. We are here with John, who's going to do another lesson for me. All right, John, what's today's lesson about?
Today's lesson is simply about 4 principles of chess.
Okay.
Same thing every lesson is going to be about.
Okay.
And today, during the tournament, I played a Danish Gambit. One, you would think Danish Gambit be tactical, strong player, you're playing an 8 player. No, ended up in an end game and ground out the win.
Okay.
And I basically, principle of weaknesses, right? I had some double pawns and the initiative. But when you think about the 4 principle of chess, it always comes down to time, space, material, and development, right?
Okay.
So Danish Gambit, don't worry about the letters and numbers on the board.
Okay.
Old school players think in descriptive notation anyway, so they're not going to worry about which side has the. But anyway, you're talking about sacrificing material right out of the opening of the Danish, right? E4, E5, D4. Why would you give up a pawn? Well, you give up a pawn so that you can sacrifice another pawn. When they take that pawn,
Question. Well, you could take it here.
you could.
But then
So that's a whole other opening.
Okay.
And now you're talking about a different principle. And that's a good question. So if you were to take it here, now the question is, what principles are you making and what principles are you violating?
So you get your pawn back, but your queen's going to have to move if they develop this knight toward the center.
And a lot of players don't know that the idea of moving the queen too early in the opening is a principle of opening play because she becomes a target.
Yeah.
Right. That's why we don't jump the rooks out early in the game. It's not because we can't get them out.
Yeah.
Same way we get the other pieces out. It's because all of a sudden the bishops just start going after them.
Yeah.
And what you lose isn't what you think, because you might be able to save your rook, but what you can't get back is the time you take. So there you go. You got time, space, material, development right out of the opening. In this case, if you're going to play center game like that, then you need to know center game theory.
Yeah.
Right? So you need to know what happens after knight c6, where the queen's going to go.
I see,
right? Yeah. So in this case, though, we're playing c3 to give up material to gain development.
Yeah.
Right? So it gives us enough time to gain development. So that bishop comes out.
Oh, the bishop comes out. You don't take
It's the Danish Gambit.
What? Wait, okay.
So the Danish Gambit is old theory. This is going back to the 1700s, especially, right?
Yeah.
So you have all these great players back in the day who used to play this stuff.
Okay.
And then some practicality comes along, and dogmatic theory starts with Steinitz and the idea that people could actually defend.
Yeah.
Because people felt obligated before the 1700s to take a pawn.
Yeah.
Right? Because it was just a matter of principle. Eventually Steinitz comes along, and the idea is you don't have to take the pawn.
Yeah.
You can take it, give it back, or you can refuse it and just get a good position.
Yeah.
But here, the idea is that in the Nisi selective variation of the Danish, you give back the pawn, you attack, you chip away at the center, you get a queen side majority, and you make a temporary queen side. Right? So you've seen this before?
Maybe way back in the day, but it's not familiar. I don't remember.
What I like about this particular opening is that it teaches the 4 principles really well.
Yeah.
So king takes.
Okay.
Queen takes queen. And then the question is, how do you get your queen back, right?
Yeah. So you got this check here.
There's the discovery of the queen.
Yeah.
Now, rook takes queen, and guess what? Black would be up material.
Yeah.
So the question is, how do you get your material back? Well, you give back.
Yeah.
Now, this is where a lot of players simply stop their theory after rook here, attacking the pawn.
Yeah.
But after knight here, it sets the trap. So that it takes, you win material. And how do you win material in this position?
Okay.
Well, because knight takes. Right?
Oh, yeah. That was good.
She's kidding. All right. So this is the thing. When you're thinking about time, space, material development, you're asking, what can I win in this position? Is my opponent's last move a mistake? And that's what you're paying attention to move by move. 4 principles of chess. Did my opponent violate them? Make a mistake? Taking the pawn's a mistake. Yeah, and you see it. Why is that? giving an advantage to black.
To white?
Okay, well, let's say white here.
Oh, you're saying there's a trap for
No, I'm saying
Oh,
you're correct.
I don't know.
You're correct.
Okay.
You're absolutely correct.
Okay.
I misspoke.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, because if you take, you're gonna go up in exchange here,
Okay.
and then if you like move away, then
You
you
take
can
the-
take the knight, and then let's say the king can like come up here and like now attack.
No, I think you're spot on. The idea is now you've taken away the defender,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Take away the defender.
So
Okay.
that interference there, if you come back, obviously you take it.
Yeah.
Right? And then some people would say, well, what happens after this? Because now I'm taking with check once you move the knight, right?
Now you're taking with check once you
If
move the knight.
knight takes knight,
Then
rook
you
takes
take
knight, and then you get the material back.
Yeah.
So what is the next move if you're going to manage to hang on to everything?
Is it push the pawn?
There you go. Simple chess. Pawn push. And now you're just winning. So a lot of the time what happens is, you're right, the material just has to be sacrificed. Yep. And
Oh, we have people say, "Hey, Holmes, it's going good." John did this. So John said he played the Danish game to end the tournament.
this is not what
This is
happened.
not what happened. Okay.
So we just went
Also,
through a whole
Hey,
bunch
Sir
of
Vex.
Danish theory, Nishi selective variation of the Danish, right? Which is a favorite of mine, especially for teaching chess.
Can you say that one more time? The
The Nishi selective variation of the Danish.
variation
Right.
of the Danish.
Nishi's was a very strong player. Schlechter was a very strong player. Schlechter is considered one of the strongest players never to have won the world championship. There's lots of Schlechter variations in chess. Yeah, go ahead. And what happened was, as you developed from the Romantic period into dogmatic theory and going into where Steinitz became world champion,
Yeah.
you got rid of all the romance with Anderson and Morphy and Staunton and all these other gambit, maestros playing, whatever you want to call it. You got out of the Romantic period and into what led to eventually the modern period. All right, so in the Danish, we have this idea of giving up material so you gain time.
Okay.
But if a player understands opening theory and understands full principles, he may give the material back right away,
Okay.
which is what my opponent did.
Oh, right.
And now you ask yourself, well, what are both sides getting? Normal is pawn takes, rook takes, pawn takes. Now, obviously, you have a pawn in the center, but it's isolated,
Yeah.
and the queen's out early.
Yeah.
This is typical of this variation, right?
Yeah.
So, and this variation, there are still traps.
Okay.
You have to understand that. So, right up, bishop up is all fine to play,
Okay.
right? So,
Wait, can I have a question?
Sure.
Why here? Like, because like I would be like, oh,
sure.
we can like attack the queen.
And it does happen
Okay.
that way. It comes now. Most of the time, the pin happens,
See, okay, yeah.
so it's fine. And then you have to be aware that pin needs to be broken, and
Yeah.
also the queen needs to be protected.
Yeah.
Both sides have their goals.
Got it.
And this variation, though, we're setting a trap,
Okay.
right? So let's say, what was the last move for black?
Black was here, and then white played here.
So whose move is it?
Black's move.
Black's move. Okay. So what happens after this one? Can you win a pawn?
Can white win a pawn?
Black win.
Can black win a pawn? Let's see.
What's the first thing you look at in all positions?
Checks.
Check.
Yeah. There's a check here with the queen. There's a check here
Well,
with the
right
bishop.
now we're dealing with material because black is taken. So white's going to take back.
Okay.
And Now, before
Oh,
you,
sorry. I kept thinking it was black's turn.
That's okay.
It's white's turn. Got
yeah,
it.
So,
Sorry.
and then, the goal is to get you to think. People think in terms of half moves. Now. It used to be to complete a move, you had to make a move for both sides, and now it's one move.
Okay.
Now people call like half moves, and that throws people off because you have to think in terms of moves, which is both sides. If you start thinking in terms of one side, then what happens is you often lose. You get tunnel vision. You're playing for your side. You miss an opponent's move. All right, so we're gonna play.
We did, yeah. Because then you got the knight. You got rid of the knight, which was defending.
Yep, and now black loses.
Ah, I see. So this is the okay. So this you.
So what's your first candidate move here? Yeah.
To take with check.
Good shot. And that removes the defender.
Yeah. And then now you can get this queen.
So even in the safe line, there's a trap that needs to be watched. That's how chess is. I mean, if you don't understand those four principles, if you don't understand opening theory, then you're going to end up in a quick loss.
Yeah.
And that's what you look for, too. You look for what your opponent's understanding is.
Yeah.
Everybody sits down and they think ratings, openings, and you can play any opening as long as you understand better than your opponent. Mm-hmm. You're going to find a way to get an advantage. The idea that you can't figure things out at the board, if you have enough time, you'll figure it out. So, if we're going back to the stuff that we've talked about, then the question is, have you done your homework, right? So now we're in that Smith-Morra theory that we've come back to. For every Sicilian player, if you're going to play the Sicilian, you have to have some sort of line against the Smith-Morra.
Yeah.
And those lines are typical G6 and D6 and E6, most common, right?
Yeah.
So what's your line? Main line, Smith-Morra theory, you want to play the D6 lines, right? Now, you've seen me do this a million times before, right? And what do I often play here? No, none of those moves. It's funny because in this position, I don't want the pin.
Okay.
So even though
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now,
okay.
You've seen me do this a million times before. Now, what would you play?
I think.
Now, is H3 correct play? All it does is prevent your bishop from going to B5.
You talked about how this, how to say this, like it gives black a step in development. Like allows black, so black should do developing.
And the principle here is that I'm ignoring the center. I'm playing on the flanks.
Yeah.
So if you think about what that means, it means that none of the pieces that needed to move moved. My knight didn't move. My bishop didn't move. I'm not closer to castling. My rook's not closer to center because I took the time to play this, which gives you time.
Yeah.
So now what do you do in this position?
I play a knight.
Which one? And this is good principle because now you're developing toward the center and you're preparing your house. So now you'll see me play. And you'll play.
I think play my other.
Which is fine. Knights before bishops is an old principle. And then you'll see me play. And now you'll play. And see, that hesitation means you haven't studied.
Well, you told me not to study openings.
Well,
I've been doing the end game. He's told me to do Dvoretsky's end game, which I have been every day for 20 minutes.
Yep. And I've also said that if you're going to play the Sicilian, you have to be prepared for the spin.
Okay. I'll study
this more. We did talk about preparing this line and working with it. So this is good. You're getting your pieces out. You have what they call a small center, right? Not quite a Boleslavsky's wall, but maybe, right?
Yeah.
So, and Boleslavsky was a very famous Russian player. That was Bronstein's father-in-law, right? Who was very famous and good player. All right, so we've got D6 is the last move.
Oh, yeah.
And, because, was it E6 or D6? E6 was the last move?
Yeah.
All right, so now what will white do here? You could pin the knight, but sometimes it's better just to castle. Because look at the development. You still have a lead in development. Black hasn't castled. I pay a lot of attention to who castles first in the game. So, what will you play here?
I'd get my bishop out to castle.
And then, what have you seen me play in this position? It's going to be one of two moves. Nope, you've not seen me play that move in this position because what I do is I either give the bishop a square in retreat, or I start developing my queen.
Oh. Okay.
So that I can pin the pawn.
In the
To the
with the rook.
and threat.
So if I castled at this moment, then you would castle here.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, and then we talked about like queen comes here and then like knight comes here and like king comes back.
Which is very typical of not just this variation of Smith Mora, but a lot of Sicilian.
Yeah.
You know, you'll see con Sicilians lead to that all the time. But is that your move?
Yes.
Okay. And then we get to this. Right. We have a retreat. Now, I will on occasion play this one. And why would I do that?
Would it be because if I take back with the bishop, then there's one less thing to this pawn?
No, it's because there's a big hole here for my knight.
Oh.
So now you're talking about positional play, and the queen just happens to be on a square where she can be attacked. When she retreats, if she doesn't retreat to protect the bishop, then the king side gets wrecked.
I see.
So yeah, so if you're thinking ahead, with bishop g5, the threat is bishop takes knight, bishop takes bishop, knight to d5.
Yeah.
If the queen doesn't go to d8, let's say the queen plays that typical move of queen to b8,
No.
knight takes bishop check, and now the queen comes in.
Tested.
Yep. The rook comes up to the third file,
Yeah.
and then you combine those two, it gets ugly quick.
Yeah.
Not to mention the bishop is still pinning on that diagonal.
Yeah.
So, okay, so
Could you go somewhere like this?
I mean, does that make it worse or better? So, in this position, I take,
Yeah.
right? And then I play queen to c4,
I see.
attacking the weakness.
Yeah.
And it's it can be defended. But now you have this weakness,
Yeah.
and the knight also comes in to attack it.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, so what happens is you're giving compensation to white, unless you're playing perfectly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that humans can't do, unless they've studied opening theory and memorized what gives them the best chance.
Yeah.
That's why principles play out more often than not on our level, because people haven't memorized all of the lines perfectly the way the professionals have. So you simply can play an opening
Yep.
and just play better than your opponent.
Yeah.
You don't have to memorize a whole bunch of stuff. You do have to figure it out correctly. So here, obviously, both sides have problem.
Yep.
We're going to go back to the idea of bishop here, though.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So we're in this position. Yeah.
I think this still, though, is like a pretty big threat. Well, I guess not as much because the knight's still here.
Well, is this here, first of all? What
No, right. Well, because you moved. No, you did move here, and then I moved here, and then you moved back. Because you said sometimes I go here.
Yes. Okay. So what's an alternative move? Are there alternative moves? What would happen if you played this one? It looks a little
I don't like
suspect.
that because, like, you like give you this 5. I mean, I guess my rook can come over, but you have that, and then my pawns are doubled here. So take.
I mean, it'd be
And
nice if
then-
you could play knight to b5, but you can't because this is hanging, right?
Knight to b5. Oh yeah. Wait, but like right here.
Yeah.
But
Can't do it because this.
Oh, because I can take it. Yeah. I feel like if I was white, I would just take the knight.
With what?
The bishop.
Well, you start asking yourself, what's the evaluation of the position? Who does this favor?
Well, I mean, because like this pawn, like the bishop is gonna have to take more time.
gonna
Like,
take a couple
yeah,
moves.
so I like this for white better.
Whose move is it?
Is white
Okay. What move did we talk about?
the knight here? Okay, there. Yeah. Okay.
What would you play here?
So this pawn is defended by the queen. So and that king can't move anywhere in this file. Can't take the bishop. So to protect pawn, but this looks dangerous.
It is dangerous. Already you're realizing the bishop and the rook haven't been developed. The
Yeah.
queen keeps moving. You're losing time and
Yeah.
and the side that played the gambit is getting everything that they want. Eventually they'll get either the pawn back or more.
Yeah.
So what would you play as white here? Yeah, just a natural move. Now all of a sudden you're threatening all sorts of things. All right, so we've gone over principle enough. You really can't have a coach that helps you unless you play the coach.
Oh, are we gonna play?
Yes.
Yes. Anthony C says, "Who won East Market?" I think it was Siddharth.
Get a problem.
Did he go 4-0?
Yeah, maybe the 4.
All right.
All right. Prophylaxis, keeping my knight at a c4. Prophylaxis again, right? Okay, we're gonna put a clock on you.
Okay.
What are you thinking?
So I'm thinking of trading my bishop, if that's good. I was also thinking of moving my bishop back to my knight to go here,
Yeah.
but I really wanted to put my bishop here, but I couldn't figure out a way to get my knight.
Yeah.
I also was thinking of moving my queen here, but
So you don't want to put your bishop here unsupported, right?
Right, yeah, so it's not ready yet.
So the other thing is, if you trade the bishop for the knight,
Yeah.
and give up the queen, and you give the rook a way to move, there's no way to exploit the queen being on c7.
Yeah.
So you're trading a developed piece for a piece that needs to develop,
Right.
you're giving me time and development, and now I can center my rook and I've completed my development. Then my bishop has to go.
Yeah.
Because my pawns are on the light squares.
Yeah.
So then I go to my semi-open file and I immediately start attacking.
Yeah.
Right?
So I wanted to.
So if you're going to play that line and do bishop takes, queen takes, probably knight here.
Oh, but I was thinking maybe I don't want to trade it. Maybe I'll move my bishop here.
Sure. That's also playable. But when you play bishop takes, queen takes, knight here, you threaten knight takes pawn, winning the queen.
Oh.
And that's the type of thing you're looking for in the position.
I see.
That gives you your time back. Put your knight on a strong square. right? And justifies your play.
I could still do
Correct,
that.
correct. But the difference is now my knight.
Yeah. So that's why I was thinking that because I was expecting your knight to come here next move.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, well, maybe I should take it and then not let it develop.
Right.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, I'll trade my knight. I'll try to trade my knight for your knight.
It's tough because I have to decide if I really want to take that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is where some of those weird experienced ideas come into play. Like, maybe since I can't play rook over, I come up with this idea of bishop here.
Alright, I'm just gonna take it.
Right. So I'm hitting the e pawn. And this makes a lot of sense, right? Because you're getting to the square you want to get to. You start thinking about drawbacks to that move. Let's say I become really aggressive, and I just simply come all the way. I still have to justify my play. It's coming over. Okay. Now we still have to keep track of the square. So now I'm looking at, well, are there sacrifices? They're not there yet. So now I'm thinking. I'm looking at moves like rook f3 doesn't quite work. I'm looking at moves like rook to f5 doesn't quite work. g5 doesn't quite work. And queen e7 is interesting to me because I want to challenge the bishop. So, I'm not finding a whole lot of. Both sides have a decent position. So maybe I just decide I don't want to make the mistake of, rook e7, and I retreat. My queen's on a pretty good square. I haven't quite figured out how to get another piece on the f5, which is what I should be doing, right? So let's do that. Let's bring the queen back.
I was thinking going here.
Yeah, and this is the move I'm trying to provoke, right? So this is what I'm expecting, and then I'm going to play with here.
Okay. Right.
Exactly. So again, you've got a bishop here and a queen here.
Yeah.
I've got a queen, a rook, and a bishop here.
Yeah.
And if you want to get somebody's queen trapped, this is how you do it.
So, okay, what if I go here?
Yeah.
And then, I let you, like...
Well, that's kind of the point now. There's this weakness. Takes. Pawn push is strong, obviously. And then rook over,
Yeah.
pawn push is also strong. So it's a question of whether or not I want your pawn here. So.
Oh, but my pawn's also hanging here.
Yeah, and that's also likely winning, but don't forget you have the counterattack. This is my king's exposed. It's rook over, rook down, and now I have to defend and attack. Whereas if I leave these lines closed, I'm just winning where the play is, where I have my strength.
Yeah.
Play where you're strongest, and don't give your opponent counter chances. If I have to go for that advantage, I will.
Yeah.
And then I'll have to retreat my rooks, try to create queens, try to go after the Isolani, grind it out 30, 60 moves later. That's a whole other game then. Hey, I could just play 3 right away.
Okay, so if I take, and now your rook, like...
Exactly.
But if I don't take...
Exactly. So you have this weakness, this weakness.
Yeah.
This is going to become a weakness.
Yeah.
The dark squares are weak. This king is safe.
Yeah.
This king's not going to be safe.
Yeah.
And I think this is a good place to end the lesson.
Okay.
Where you did everything quite well.
Yeah.
Until you decided that you were going to.
Yeah.
And again, like you have to see rook f5.
Yeah.
But then also you have to be thinking, why would I put my queen in a position where she can't do anything unless I can combine with the bishop and the.
Yeah.
So that's the difference in the thinking. Yeah.
So we got, hey Forge, welcome. Why did the chess game end in a draw? Because the kings were brothers from another board. As a joke.
Yeah.
Thanks, Forge. Cool. Thank you for the lesson.
Good.
Yeah. I messed up in the opening. I hung a pawn over when you took my knight and I took with the bishop, when I pushed this. So I don't think that was good for me. I don't know. I don't know what to do if you took my pawn. I was gonna be like.
You're talking about was my pawn hanging on the A7?
No, my pawn was hanging. It was because I don't normally push this pawn here because it was like this. Because in the queen's game, it was like this. And then I went here, but then no longer my bishop normally has this. So when you take, yeah. And then I was like, oh crap. But,
so the pawn that you normally give away in a queen's pawn, you hung.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah. Okay.
Not a big deal.
Okay.
Especially and so a lot of players are giving that pawn away anyway.
Right. Yeah. But I don't just sit into this. But when I lose the pawn and I can't get it back, I usually I'm just down a pawn.
So it depends on whether or not you're trading it for time, space, material. Right.
Yeah.
So a lot of players don't think. First of all, the queen's gambit's not a true gambit because you can always get the pawn back by force. Queen to A4 check. Players don't understand it. Then they don't look at the professional games where I have all these beautiful B3 moves.
Yeah.
Which doesn't get the pawn back. It gives them a position where they're going to get the pawn back later.
Got it.
So you have to know what you're trading it for.
Yeah.
So the chances of me taking that pawn, I would have to have calculated concretely that I'm just keeping a pawn and I'm not taking away from my center. Because remember, when I take that pawn, what do I trade? My center pawn.
True, yeah.
Goes away from the center.
Yeah.
Which can also be very bad for you.
Yeah.
Especially if you can play E4, D4. Now you have a strong center and an ideal pawn center.
Yeah.
Because a lot of players aren't familiar with the concept of an ideal pawn center. So this is important. Sure, you're thinking, oh, my pawn's not defending.
Yeah.
You should be thinking about all the other things.
Yeah. Cool.
I guess now the lesson's over.
Yeah. Who's giving Jacob? Yeah. John's trying to give me the expert.
She's gonna get to expert. I'm just gonna coach her.
And he's gonna win a bet. Just making all the right moves, one square at a time. Cool. Well, thank you all for joining us tonight. And we'll see you next time.
All right.
Bye. Thanks, John.